Hello and welcome to another Writerly Witterings, and today it's a latest in my 5-minute reviews of books, and I'm talking about Gallows Court by Martin Edwards. Now, quick disclaimer, which is that I know Martin Edwards is a friend. He has been until this year the chairman of the Crime Writers Association. He's also the president of the Detection Club, and he's a very delightful fellow. Martin is also a consultant to the British Library's Crime Classics series. He's done a lot of work with the British Library on that, which is fascinating. He's very, very enthusiastic and keen about the golden age of crime fiction, and in fact one of his previous books, which I have reviewed, is The Golden Age of Murder, which is a brilliant book all about the beginnings of the Detection Club and the main members who were there at the very outset. So it's a wonderful book that goes through the life stories of Dorothy L. Sayers and G.K. Chesterton and the other rather wonderful names who are all involved, and a collection of mugshots of them all. Fantastic book, really interesting if you've got an interest in Golden Age crime fiction. But I've got 5 minutes to talk about Gallows Court, so let's get on with it. I even have crib notes. I have a lot of notes here. I have lots of thoughts here. This starts off with Juliet Brentano living in a big house on a small island off the coast in 1919, has just received news that her parents have died of the Spanish flu in London. She says it's a fairy story. She doesn't believe a word of it, neither do I. My mother and father were murdered, I'm sure of it, and Rachel Savanac is responsible. Rachel Savanac is the daughter of Judge Savanac, who owns the house where they're living. Now, that's an interesting start point. So Rachel Savanac is suspected of murder. Then we go to 1930, all of a sudden, and Rachel Savanac has just solved a murder. And it moves to Rachel Savanac herself and the fact that her house is being watched by Jacob Flint, who is a reporter for a slightly dodgy newspaper called the Clarion. Most reporters are working for slightly dodgy newspapers, aren't they? So Rachel Savanac is an investigator, we are led to believe. But this book plays with your perception of her and other people in this story. We have Jacob Flint, who is actually quite a likeable character. He becomes a senior reporter for the Clarion because his predecessor as a crime reporter, was hit by a car and knocked down and is in hospital. His prognosis is not good, put it like that, and so Flint is given the job of senior crime reporter. But who hit Betts in his car? Was it an accident? Was it intentional? There was a witness there who said what sort of car it was and everything, and says in the fog it could have just been an accident. But was that witness telling the truth? Rachel Savanac has solved what's called the Chorus Girl murder. I won't go into that, but she clearly has a great deal of interest in seeing justice done. Martin Edwards basically sets up the reader in a number of different ways, leaves the reader anticipating certain outcomes, and then takes the rug away. And the way that he does it is just superb. You can tell that he studied Golden Age murder books, because the way that he changes the whole perception in a couple of pages, and he doesn't do it once, he does it a couple of times. The ending is one that I did not anticipate. The main thrust of the book I thought was straightforward until I got to the second third of the book. That was all changed. There's 2 or 3 twists at the end that really got me going. This, I think, will grab anybody who enjoys a modern day type thriller like Grisham or possibly a Diva. It works better for me than most of the plots by contemporary writers. I just found it fascinating. I found it really brilliant, absolutely grabbing, and this book, it may look as though it's completely pristine and undamaged and unread. I think that's a sign that Head of Use spent a certain amount of money getting a good quality book printer. But this book has been with me for walking the dogs instead of watching TV with my family. I've been terrible this Easter because I've just been sitting down and reading this book. It's fantastic, really, really good, utterly engrossing. All of the knowledge that Martin Edwards has got from studying the Golden Age crime writers comes out in this book. It is really twisty, especially in the last few pages. Everything becomes clear in the last 30 odd pages, I think, but there are several twists even then, and you are constantly left with your perceptions being twisted round Martin Edwards' little finger. It is a fantastic book, highly recommended, really, really good, engrossing and involving read. I can't possibly praise it highly enough. If you only read one crime book this year, this is my crime book of the year so far. Really enjoyed it. Hope that was interesting. And now I'm going to go back to my cold cup of tea and then start planning. This is going to be a confusing, difficult year because I've just been asked to organise the annual general meeting for the Crime Writers Association next year. I've got 1 year to do it in. That is not enough time. I'll have to do my best. Right, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed that, please subscribe and like, hit the bell button if you want to be notified of other videos that'll be coming up. And if you've got any comments or questions or suggestions for other books to review, please put them down in the comments section. In the meantime, here are some videos that you might like, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Cheers.